This piece is entitled, Whack This, I Dare You. I was in the kitchen reading the Times that morning. Lorraine came in from the other room where she'd been talking to her sister and now said to me, family. She opened the refrigerator and said, I don't want this, this, or this, and tossed 3 containers into the garbage. I knew better than to look. She said, my 79-year-old sister treats her depression by binging on Junior's cheesecake. When she comes down from the sugar, she's more depressed than ever. I said to her, dear, do you see the pattern? She said to me, you've never supported me in any of my culinary choices. You're a food snob. I said, tell her to do some exercise. She said, exercise depresses her. I said, tell her to do some good deeds for people. She said, people depresses her. I said, try not to let her get to you. She said, just because I love her doesn't mean she's sane. I said, what do her kids say? She said, that she depresses them. I said, she's their mother. She's entitled. She said, if I say that to them, I'll be the one depressing them. I'm just happy we have a better relationship with our kids. I said, our kids only call to talk about their problems. When it involves money, they're like 7-year-olds. They beg and sometimes cry. She said, I find that adorable. I said, I find it depressing. And if you merge depressing and adorable, you get deplorable. She said, they're the only ones who will be there for us at the end. I said, I have no doubt that at the end, they'll be complaining to me about their problems until one of them says, oh, look, Dad's not listening, he's dead. She said, that's a horrible thing to say. I said, the truth's sometimes horrible. Ask the New York Times. She said, they don't tell the truth all the time. I said, nobody tells the truth all the time. She said, that's why people long for something sacred to believe in. I said, since this is America, shouldn't that be money? She said, that's the most cynical thing you've ever said to me. I said, then you haven't really been listening closely the last 35 years. She said, of course not. How do you think the marriage stays together? I said, it's impossible to have a serious discussion with you. Nothing's logical. It's all emotional and consequently wacky. She stuck a middle finger in front of my face and said, whack this, I dare you. Then she stepped out of the kitchen.